Good night, everybody. And now it's time for another story by the fire, read by Mary T. And tonight's story is called The Start of a New Life in Ireland by Bernadett, Buda. If anyone asked me how I knew 10 years ago that Ireland was where I wanted to live, I would simply say, I didn't. As with most stories of emigration, local connections, goodwill, and a bit of luck all played their part. I didn't know much about the Emerald Isle, apart from its breathtaking scenery, mild climate, and friendly people, and that they spoke English, a language which, in my naivety, I thought I had a good command of. I arrived in January 2008. Despite the rain that hit me straight in the face as soon as I stepped off the plane, I had a bright outlook on my future in the new country. If the Celtic tiger had been showing signs of failing health, no one seemed to know or care. Within 2 weeks, I landed a decent job and did my best to settle in as quickly as I could. Straight away, I noticed there was this distinct air of generosity around, so different from what I had been used to in Hungary. When I went to the post office to pay the gas bill, the clerk behind the counter asked me if it were a matter of course, as if it was a matter of course. Would you like to pay the whole lot now? Coming from Eastern Europe, I was completely taken aback. Is there a choice? Does he mean I can actually pay as much of the bill I want to now and then come back later with the balance of it when I feel like it? Just as I would have at home, I paid in full, but I couldn't help thinking, what a country. Another sign of abundance was the number of babies being pushed around in buggies. Those same buggies laden with shopping bags full of new clothes. The demographics of Ireland were clearly in a healthy state, and people had enough disposable income to go on a shopping spree on a weekly basis. I too soon joined the masses. On the shopping sprees. As far as rearing the future generation is concerned, I have to admit I didn't make any contribution. Sadly, in the autumn of 2008, it became clear that the Celtic tiger had actually been about to draw its last breath, just as I was stepping off the plane back in January. Don't look at me, I had nothing to do with it. Ireland faced into some very difficult times, as practically the whole world spiralled into an economic downturn that year. And yet my own memories of that time are happy, as I continued to settle in. Forget the economy. More importantly, what shall I wear tomorrow? Was my take on Irish life. I found it a real challenge to make smart clothing choices in the Irish weather. I must have been here for about 2 months when I innocently asked a colleague at work, when is it going to stop raining? She looked at me as if contemplating whether I was in my right mind and replied, never. The weather forecast was hardly a help. On a bad day, they'd say, showers with sunny spells. On a good day, the report would change to sunny spells with showers. I learned to dress like an onion and carry around half of my wardrobe, including spare shoes and a raincoat, to counteract the sometimes horizontal Irish rain. Right from the early days, I could tell Irish and non-Irish apart just by what they were wearing. On a sunny day, ladies in tights. Definitely not Irish. 15 degrees and a bit of sunshine always brought out bare snow-white Irish legs and arms. Thankfully, the body adjusts with time. One has to be patient. If I remember correctly, my toes eventually saw the Irish sun in 2010. Another vital part of my adjustment process was getting the hang of the Irish accent and turns of phrase. If I liked some colloquialism I heard, I incorporated it into my chat. That's why I soon proudly began to open conversations with, "How's the farm?" When I first heard it, I thought, isn't that a lovely phrase? It seems to hail from olden days when most people had their own farms in the countryside. Surely it had been around for generations and had wound its way into the vernacular of urban dwellers. It made perfect sense. The Irish, bless them, didn't bat an eyelid. Never mind anyone ever enlightening me that it's not the farm, for heaven's sake, but the form. Oh well, at least I tried. I soon realised that many Irish are capable of spicing up the English language, breaking and making rules in the process. Was it a coincidence that Sebastian Barry's novel, The Secret Scripture, was published in 2008? You cannot often say about a book that its sentences touch the deepest chords in your heart, even though you are describing senses and notions that are alien to you. This book did just that. It deepened my understanding of my adopted country and gave me an appreciation for Irish literary talent. I went on to discover Roddy Doyle, Frank McCourt, John Banville and Edna O'Brien, and from there some of the new writers now making waves on the literary scene. So, in my first 10 years here, a lot of reading, a lot of talking, and a lot of getting rained on. I can think of worse ways to get to know and love a country. Good night, everyone.